Hey friends, you're watching Brainstorm Makers. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
Today we're going to do a really short show. We went to an event associated with the group that we do work with this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And we went because?
A friend of ours was getting one of the highest service awards available in that organization.
Actually, I think it was the highest.
It is the highest service award, yeah.
And we wore some special stuff when we were there.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, it's a crown. We call it a coronet.
Yep.
And how do we come by these, Irene?
We were landed Baron and Baroness. That means that we were, in mundane terms, kind of the president of the co-chairs of the group that ran the game up in Flagstaff.
So we covered every place between where we live and all the way out to Joseph City, which is a long way, then from north of Flagstaff all the way down to Paces. So it's a huge part of Yavapai County, the county that we live in.
Mm-hmm. We always say that we have way more elk than we have people.
And that's pretty much true. Now, both of us have received some awards from the same group.
Right.
This was what's called a Laurel Medallion. Mm-hmm. Irene has one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mine came from the person that I studied under in the SCA as a brewer.
Mm-hmm.
And yours came from also another brewer.
Right. When he found out that he was gifted this when he was given his laurel, and he wanted it to go back to the original kingdom that he came from, the area of the United States that he was in. Had been California when he got his award, and then he moved up to the Pacific Northwest, and he wanted it to go back to California, and we were in California at the time. And he knew I was also a brewer, so he said, "Would you like a historic piece?" And I said, "Sure, that's always a cool thing." So, yeah, it's a historic piece. It's stainless steel. It was made by armorers for a friend of theirs that we're getting.
Those are people who actually build the armor that the people who work doing live action combat. Mm-hmm. This is full contact armor.
Right.
Full contact combat.
Right.
So it's pretty rough and tumble.
Right. So this was made out of stainless steel, and it's all stamped and engraved and everything else like that. So, yeah, I don't always wear it. Actually, I did not wear it this weekend. I wore a smaller, more subtle piece that doesn't weigh 10 pounds. But, yeah, it was awesome. We got to see our friend get her award. We got to participate in her ceremony. She had us carry her banner in, which was cool. We had it partially rolled up. She had somebody paint the banner for her, and it's got her heraldry. In medieval times, you would have had, if you were upper crust, you would have had heraldry that represented your family. And we can register heraldry through our organization, and there are specific rules as to what kind of things you can have and all that kind of stuff. And I would say most of us have most of our good friends at least have their heraldries. There are more beginner types who don't, but at some point most people are encouraged to do it and to show it, because it's kind of like your signature would be modernly in terms of who you are. And she had that painted onto her to a banner, and then on top of it she had some of her awards, which we couldn't unroll completely until she had received her other award.
Yeah, so the last award was a really high accolade, and we were very delighted to be able to participate with her and for her.
Yes, and not die of heat stroke while we were down there.
It was in the upper 90s.
Yeah,
and
well,
we were used to maybe the upper 60s.
Yeah, we'd had a couple of days that hit like the 70s, and we were sweating to death up here. And we wore the lightest linen that we had because, in fact, usually we would have worn wool, but no, we're like, no, can't do wool, wearing linen.
So there's something else about these coronets that's unique. As you may have noticed from some of our earlier shows, Irene is a jeweler in addition to a gardener and a lot of other things. And this is made out of sterling silver, and there are cabochons. There's actual semi-precious stones on each one of
there are lapis.
peaks.
There are lapis lazuli. One of the problems you deal with when you're doing this kind of reenactment is we have symbols that we use modernly that were actually not used in period. The kings among the Vikings and stuff like that wouldn't have been called kings in general until very late. and they did not wear crowns like we would think of a king wearing a crown modernly. So you're faced with this balancing act of how close can you get to what they might have worn, plus you have to follow the rules in your own area about what you're allowed to wear. The height of a coronet is limited in many kingdoms. It has to be shorter than the actual king and queen's coronets for the crowns for the kingdom. So when you make something like this, you have to follow the rules for your own group. And whenever I have in the past made stuff for people who live in other kingdoms, I don't make crowns anymore. I don't like making them. But it was always, let me find out what the rules are for your group first. And some groups have no rules. Others have rules, so you have to make sure you don't step on somebody's toes by breaking the rules.
So that's all the fun that we had this weekend. It really was a grand
awesome
time being with our friend Mindy. It was really awesome that she was able to get this award, and believe me, she deserves
every step of it.
Several times over.
She was our chief administrator when we were Baron and Baroness up in the Flagstaff area, and the paperwork and keeping this straight and keeping that straight and running events and all that kind of stuff.
And we told her it was great that she'd participated with us, but it was time to go do something bigger on a bigger scale.
Right.
So we told her to go do some work with the kingdom, which is our state area. In other areas, it's multiple states, but here in Arizona, it's just Arizona.
Yeah.
And look at the bigger picture of the group that we do work with.
Right. Yeah, because it's international.
So.
And Jan, the last time I checked, there's one in South Africa.
And that's about it for our fun time this weekend. Now on to a purely modern day opportunity. It's 160 miles more or less from where we live to the location where this event was held. And unfortunately, we got a little later start going down to Gilbert than what we'd have liked. And traffic was very heavy. And unfortunately, there's some areas where traffic merges and goes off, and you have to be in the right lane, which I was in. And there was somebody who kept on slowing down and in fact stopping on a freeway that the traffic was moving 60 to 70 miles an hour. And I managed to stop 3 times in a row with no issues, and the 4th time...
We almost stopped.
Close.
Close, but no cigar.
We had a low-speed collision, which I think probably at the end of it all, the insurance company is going to decide that our car was totaled because of the damage.
It's old enough. It's one of those things. Is they play. It's not that it's not repairable. It's infinitely repairable. I doubt that the frame is warped or anything like that. But the car's not worth that much.
So they won't repair it, probably.
Probably. We'll find out in a week or two.
So that was our big excitement on Friday night, and finding a rental car on Friday in Phoenix at 7:30 at night was kind of difficult because everybody was closed. I did get a rental car from a rental agency and spent 4 hours on the phone yesterday with them because there was an issue with that car. Been trying to find someplace to return it. They told me that they could have it towed by AAA, and it would be as many hours as AAA takes to get to me, and in our area, that's typically 4, 5, 6 hours or more, and I can't stay with a car that long on the side of the road. So I'm going to take my life in my hands,
drive it down,
and drive it to another location and say, here you go, this car has problems.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not braking right. It's not driving right. It makes weird noises when you turn in certain directions. There's something wrong with it.
So that was our excitement. The good excitement at the beginning, well, in the middle of the week. And
Right.
The excitement at the beginning of the weekend and the excitement yesterday.
Right. So when we get home from all of this, this is the week that I'm calling Plant All the Seeds, because I have plans to plant a ton of stuff this week.
You plant all the seeds, and on Wednesday you start taking all the classes.
Yeah, well, last week I had a metal symposium that I was attending on Zoom, so I attended 9.5 out of 10 classes, because I couldn't stay for the whole one. I'll watch it on video later. But 9.5 out of 10 classes that were offered. It was really awesome. And this week my enamel class starts up again. So on Wednesday I have I have an enamel class, so I'm hoping he'll send us some more information before then, because he kind of gave us a rough out, but it's kind of like, really? Okay.
Do you know what time it is, Irene?
It is. It's time to say hi to Jack, who finally wandered in. Jack's been sleeping this morning. He says, I've had enough excitement for the year.
By the way, we're all okay. There was no damage, except Irene banged one thumb up and it's a little sore.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Not having a right thumb is a problem right now. I have a lot of stuff to do because we're trying to get ready for an event and stuff like that. So, at any rate, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because obviously we are going to be doing tons of stuff. We have, like I say, this is Plant All the Seeds week. It's the beginning of the real spring planting, and I'll be planting a lot of things that won't go in for a long time. But, yeah, it is time. So, until next time, bye.
Bye. Keep brainstorming. And avoid those cars.
Yes, really. Oh, and Miss Issa just arrived. Eek.